Although Nigeria's vast size is in doubt, its ability to operate as a driving force for development in West Africa is not clearly perceived. The country has the essential assets to become the locomotive for the sub-region. It represents roughly 60% of its consumers, 47% regional GDP, 50% of its industrial potential. But for years, economic crisis, political instability, among others, has forced Nigeria into excesses. Evidently, Nigeria is ready to play its part as a real development pole, although a number of economic operators only see it as a hard market to crack. Well, let's analyze the prospects for export trade, of course, between Nigeria and its neighbors, of course, and also outside its neighbors too, and the world at large. That's in the light of most recent developments, a lot of issues around international policy. And who is better to discuss this than the lead consultant, 3T Impex Trade Academy, Dr. Bamidele Ayemibo. Dr. Ayemibo, thank you so much. It's good to have you on the show. It's your first time on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon.
Yes, I want us to start with your annual Trade Financial Survey, a Finance Survey 2022. Please tell us more about this document and maybe a little bit of summary of your findings. Then we'll take it up from there.
All right, thank you very much. Knowing fully well the challenge of foreign exchange in the country, with a number of initiatives from CBN, the RT200 FX, and initiative from NEPC, Nigeria Promotion Council, the Export for Survival, we thought it necessary also to really go into the industry to get some feedback from the practitioners on exactly what we need to do to grow export. And knowing fully well that for us to grow export, we must export and we must finance, and then we decide to check what exactly is the challenges affecting growth of non-oil export from Nigeria. And that's why the report was termed Stimulating the Growth of Export. About 227 participants were sampled in this survey that participated in this survey. A majority of them are exporter, a few of them are exporter and importer. So, but all of them are exporters, but some of them also import apart from that. And one of the very striking, findings of this report shows that 94% of export requests were rejected. Among the participants, 94% of the requests, even though eventually about 11% of them eventually got financing, but 94%. That shows a very high level of rejection of export finance requests. Of course, majority of the people that participated in this survey were mainly SMEs. About 45 to 60, about more than 50% are SMEs. And so that probably explains one of the challenges, the fact that now we need to support SMEs with the information and necessary guidance to be able to present a bankable proposal, but also on the part of the bank in terms of requirement. In fact, that actually underscored the CBN governor's concern at the Bankers Community Retreat and also at the biannual export conference, export summit. The CBN governor particularly told the bank, you need to get creative in supporting exporters, in financing them in order to be able to grow these exports. Knowing fully well that CBN governor said February this year that come 2023, they won't be providing foreign exchange the way they're providing this year. If you think this year there is a challenge with foreign exchange, next year will be a lot worse. And that means banks must find a way to solve this FX problem. And this report also shows that 59% of exporters said, if we can fix the challenge, if banks can help them with support services, they will do business with them. That means a bank that renders support services around market access, around trade information, around seminars and support services, they are going to do business with them. Meaning banks that will be able to attract exporters are those that render support services. But more importantly, before I stop, is the fact that major challenges come forth. 3 major challenges that the exporter complain about. And if these 3 can be fixed, we'll probably have fixed more than half of the challenge of export. 26% said their major headache is port logistics. 20% said their major challenge is financing. And 11% said their major challenge is the government agencies at the port because of the delay in relating with this agency. And these together come to about 57%. The port logistics for me is very much important because all the initiative of government around this to support this is not working, and having a terminal outside the port is the solution to this. But the only challenge with this terminal that are coming up for MP and outside the port is that a number of them don't have custom stand where we can clear for export. Imagine me going to Ikorodu to want to go and export, to want to export my product, and I say I have to go to a port to clear the good for export. Whereas I'm going to deliver my container to a terminal at Ikorodu, and these are the issues that come out of this report. We're hoping that some of the recommendations will be taken into consideration by the respective agencies.
That's a good way to really start it, giving that overview, Dr. Ayemi. But I want to follow up with this. I'm a Nigerian, and I like to be very, very blunt here. How prepared are our exporters also to take advantage of all of this goodies being given out, if I could use that word, by the central bank, by the NEPC? Do you think we are ready to compete in that market? AFCFTA is just on our side here. We are yet to take full advantage of that.
I mean, that's a very good question. We are not fully ready. Evidently, from the outcome of this report, we are not fully ready, particularly the exporters. Majority of exporters in Nigeria need to do readiness assessment. You know, there was a survey that was done in 2021 on readiness assessment. About 120 companies were sampled in that survey, and only about 3 to 4% were export ready out of the businesses that were sampled. And that also explained the reason why ETLS, Equal Trade Liberalization Scheme, has not been very successful. Imagine Equal Liberalization Scheme is over 30 years. There are some business in Nigeria that doesn't even know such exist. And that explains the reason why it's not successful. So I feel, to a large extent, the exporters need to be supported. The exporters need to be ready on their own, but they also need a lot of support on the government in terms of capacity building, in terms of infrastructural support, and of course, in terms of financing. But the truth is that we're not fully ready. And that's also shown in the sense that, imagine the fact like Ghana, Rwanda, Ethiopia already trading under AFCFTA. At least with the trial trade, Nigeria is not ready. Even the working document that we need to use to do this, it's not ready yet.
A good one. Another good one there. So moving on, let's also touch on standards, rejections, and all of that. What are we also doing to equip our exporters? I want to see a situation where our goods compete on the same shelf with international goods. I was in Kenya when the trade house was opened by the NEPC and others. So I need, for us to see our goods as our products stand side by side with international players. Do you think we are ready to meet up that standard?
The government is doing a lot in respect of that right now. NBC doing a lot. But I'm not sure. The reason why this survey was done is to show that some of the things government is focusing on is not our major problem. When you look at, we talk about a lot about rejection. When rejection happens, we talk about it. But the question you ask is, the products that were rejected, compare that product, the total volume of that product, compare the total export. You realize that exporters have rejection. Next time is going to be this challenging. A lot to sort that out with a lot of initiative on the part of NEPC in terms of certifications being done to be able to help. Federal Ministry of Trade set up a committee to be able to sort out the quality issue and the like. But look at my take on how to solve quality issue. Analyzing Ghana and Nigeria and comparing. If we don't spend quality product from going out, we solve that problem. Our country is with corruption everywhere. Even when government put a system in place, some people find a way around it. Until we have a gateway whereby if you don't meet a particular standard, your good will not be loaded on the vessel. So if I've done all I need to do, now I get to the point, my good cannot be loaded, my good is not good. That means next time I want to purchase, I will ensure I purchase the right quality. That means farmers that have no grade will have no buyer. Now, when farmers that have no great product or bad product have no buyer, the farmer will begin to do good actual practices that will make their community come out to work, that will make exporters to buy the right commodity, that make manufacturers to buy the right commodity and make us to export the right commodity. As long as we are trying to take care of the farmers, we are not on the part of farmers in the sense that they are not getting buyer for their product because they are not meeting up with the standard. I'm not sure that we're going to solve that problem.
Stuff. Africa represents 2.5% of the global trade exports. We should be able to do better. Doc, what should African countries do at this time? They've been trying to come together, even at international trade fair that was I think in Durban sometime 2 years ago, talking about how they can improve exports among themselves, as among African countries. I know you've touched on that in some of your submissions, but how well can we strengthen this market of more than 1 billion people? African population is about 1.2, 1.3 billion. We can trade within ourselves. What is the problem?
Yeah, very correct. I feel AFCFTA will fix that problem. Look at the statistics. Even with a population of about 400 plus, less than 500 million people with if you take UK out, they are controlling about 30% of world trade, but they have almost 70% intra-EU trade. So that means 30% of world trade controlled by EU, about 70% intra-EU. So that means the majority of the trade that make EU to be controlling about 30% of world trade is within the EU. And their population is less than 500 million people. Africa is 1.3 billion. But Africa, intra-African trade is about 15, 16, some will say 17 or 18% max. Because we have not been trading among ourselves. So AFCFTA is going to increase trade among Africans so that we move from that 2.5, 2.6% to begin to grow the volume of trade. Because we have the population, we have the consuming, I mean, we have the population to consume, but we are not a lot among ourselves, number one. So intra-African trade stimulated by AFCFTA is going to hard. But number two, like your speaker said, we are not adding value enough. Look at this. The total market size of cocoa in the world is about $9.3 to $9.5 billion. Total market size. 75% of cocoa export is from West Africa, with Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana leading the way. 75%. But what is total? $9.5 billion. If I convert it to chocolate alone, the market for chocolate, just an aspect of the value chain of cocoa, is about $30 billion. So that is making money. Exporting commodities, container, many containers, but in monetary terms, what are we going to get? It will be very small. If I'm exporting cashew nut, I do analysis that, let's do the analysis of cashew nut. If I export raw cashew nut, a container of raw cashew nut containing about 17, 18 metric tons, if I do at, let's say, about $1,000, let's even say about $2,000 of that cashew nut, that would be about, if I do it at 17 tons in a container, about $34,000. 17 tons in a container at $2,000. It's actually about $1,500, but that's $2,000. If I remove the shell and convert the cashew kernel and put the same amount in a container, I can sell it at about $10,000, $8,000. So, shipping a container of cashew, my container is cashew kernel shell removed. I'm selling at $170,000. Someone is exporting cashew nut, raw cashew, at $34,000. So you can see the difference that we are shipping this container, this quantity, but the price we are selling are so different. Why? Value addition, which is why CBN must be commended for giving 65 naira to those that add value. People have been on CBN, on the neck of CBN saying, look, we are the one adding value. We are big cocoa, we are hiring people. And CBN is saying, your cocoa, even though you have hired people, how much are you generating from it? That's exactly what is happening. So if we begin to add value, we begin to process, begin to increase our manufacturing base and do a lot of intra-African trade, I'm very sure we will increase the volume of contribution of trade from Africa to the rest of the world.
Okay, I'm aware of some initiatives of government to, like you've highlighted, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council has been in the forefront of this, and I agree with you that a lot of work is being done. But the likes of the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, Nexim Bank, we can go on and on, African Export-Import Bank, they all have a lot to do here. Do you think we have enough investment in promoting export? If we don't, what can we do to improve that?
We don't have enough investment. Many countries encourage export by de-risking the export sector. Government de-risk agri through NISA. Government de-risk agri with CBN helping NISA to give guarantee to banks for banks to be able to finance a lot of agri crop production and farming. Now, we need something similar. We need investment and funding coming to support Nexim Bank, support to be able to issue. Most of the time, Nexim want to fund, whereas Nexim should be more guarantee and provide export credit insurance. But they are also trying to avoid risk. I ask myself, a nation should take on this people. Exporting, they're going to create jobs, it's going to grow the economy. So why not support Nexim Bank to be able to provide export credit insurance? That makes me to be able to get more funding. That makes me to be able to export to different regions of the world, making where that even when my payment is delayed, the government is going to sort me out and the government is going to go after that payment. So we need a lot of funding coming in to support in terms of guaranteeing a lot of, I'm giving guarantee to exporters with less stringent measures. To be able to allow more exporters to get guarantees so that when bank is asking them for cover and they don't have tangible collateral, they will be able to get guarantee, export credit guarantee precisely from Nexim to be able to support the bank. And then the export credit insurance currently from Nexim, which was commend, is mainly on the country risk, political risk. We need the one on credit risk, counterparty risk that will be able to help to protect. Like in the UK, for example, if I'm exporting, if I do export credit insurance, if in 6 months my invoice is not paid, they will pay me. And UK can go after those people to be able to recover. I think that we encourage export, investment in export, and maybe get many people to come into the sector, knowing well that even their risks are being covered by the government.
Well, it's a good way to live it. I know I've been speaking to an export guru, so I didn't expect anything less from you. But we'll keep a tab on you. I will always have you in anytime we have issues surrounding the export market, because that is really the way to go. Non-oil export. I support it 100%. That's the way to go. I've been speaking with Dr. Bamidele Ayemibo. He's a lead consultant, 3T Impex Trade Academy. You would really know that he is indeed an export person. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Compliments of the season.
Thank you for having me.